wasn't going to make a video this week, and then I changed my mind. So I flew this flight with the latest transparent drone about a week ago. And the main point of this was because it's a heavier drone, I particularly wanted to check it out to make sure that it responded well when I did a return to home test, GPS rescue. Because being a bit heavier, I thought it might sink a bit more when I flicked it to return to home GPS rescue. So that's the main point of this flight. So this is coming up to where I'm going to put it in GPS rescue mode. So turning out, gaining a little bit of altitude, still in angle mode, and we'll go, there we are, and I've just flicked to rescue mode, and it hardly dropped at all, so it's passed the test, so I'm very happy with that. And it's doing its usual orientation, flipping around, and it's coming back to roughly where it should. So I think it's passed the GPS rescue test. In fact, what I noticed, it doesn't rev the motors quite as much as it used to do. So I let it get down a bit, and I can see it's coming right down next to me, and then I go back and flick it off and go back into angle mode. And flying along, just checking things out, noticing a little bit of flicker with the video, which became a bit of an issue later. But I was just reflecting on things, and I've realised that since Betaflight 451 came out, or I put it on, my flying's gone backwards, especially in Acro mode. And I suddenly realised the problem for me, as someone who grew up and flew it for years before I had the chance to go to Acro, just in southern angle mode, was that when 451 came out, the guys behind it thought it was a great idea to have a different profile, a different rate profile for angle mode versus Acro. And this, I realised, has played merry hell with me, because before that I was used to the fact that I had the same profile in angle or Acro mode. So following some really great advice from Joshua Bardwell as well, I got into the idea of adjustment tabs. So I'll show on the screen at the moment the adjustment tab, and that allowed you to have a different profile depending on whether you were in Acro or angle mode, and that's what I went ahead and did. So, and that seemed to sort things out a little bit. I still felt a bit strange. Acro still didn't feel quite right, but I thought I'll give it a go. Got into the adjustment tab so that I could change the rates depending on what mode I was in. And basically the main thing was to not have so much Acro. I'm realising more and more I want very little Acro, but I think that's what's been going on with the flight. It just didn't feel right in Acro, while it used to feel a lot more controllable. So this whole flight was in angle mode, and you can see I've got a good degree of control with it. But of course you really need Acro mode if you want to do some speed, because that way you can tilt the thing forward at about 45 degrees, open up the throttle, because without Acro mode in angle, if you accelerate hard, all you do is you pop up. You need the angle to hold you down to follow a lower line. So, but I've got to get very confident before I can do the lower lines the way I used to be able to do on non-Acro drones. I could skim across and see about a metre above the waves. I don't have the confidence yet with Betaflight enabled drones, but I'm sure it'll come. Now I've figured out this business about I really don't want different rate profiles for the different modes. So this was a lovely day. You can see already looking down that the land's greening up. We find the rains were late to come this winter. We finally had the rains come, and we get some really nice greenery out there. So I'll go back to other places that were brown underneath the drone and show what they look like greening up. Of course, with a lot of rain, not flying much at the moment. The problem is, when it's at its most beautiful and greenest, that's when a lot of birds are mating, pairing up, or more so building nests, and they're very aggressive, and rightly so, defending their airspace. So it greatly restricts some of the pretty places I can fly for probably about a 6-week period, which now I understand about it, I'm fine, I just have to pick my places. So this flight, again I'm using smaller 4S batteries than I'm used to. I think they're 1500 versus the 2200 batteries I used when I was flying 3S, but I still get over 6 minutes, which is, for me, is more than adequate for flights. I mean, it involves a bit of concentration, so I don't know if I'd want to fly much further. It'd be very different if I could hover, and once Betaflight 4.6 comes out and has been tested, I'll have a look at that. But for now, it's just coming to terms with the best way to modify Betaflight for my requirements, given I'm coming from such a different background from people who rightly bought an Acro, a drone capable of Acro from day one, and followed the sensible advice: get into Acro as soon as you can, so you don't get too used to angle mode and its limitations. I in fact persevered for years with angle mode, and I think I got some good footage, and I could fly in some fairly tight spaces. So the main thing is you couldn't use the full power of the drone because of the pop-up effect. So here we are, I'm coming in for a land. Yeah, so this was a cautious landing. The point of this approach was to come down smoothly, just test control. So taking my time. But that's one of the good things I've learned with the fairly simple drones I started with. Control. I don't want to, apart from when I make a mistake or I'm overexcited, I never want to slam a drone down hard. I want to get it back on the pad. And with a little bit of concentration and feeling calm and relaxed, there's no reason you can't do that all the time. So, another day, another flight, another video. So bye for now.